Hi, and welcome in Encounter Counter. In this series of video, I'm trying to give DMs or GMs some encounters or one-shots IDs for their tabletop RPG games or D&D games. In this video, instead of having the regular one main plot and ID, I've decided to give you a couple of IDs for travel encounters. Travel encounters can be separated into 4 categories. The first one is comedy. So it's when you do an encounter with a joke. It's not meant to be taken too seriously, it's to have a bit of fun with your player. The second category is combat/conflict encounter. Those encounter are your run-of-the-mill monster attacking the party, but it can also be a bit more plot-oriented and have a small narrative. It's basically the kind of encounter that you should prepare a battle map for, and we will have a battle map for this one. The third category is a loot encounter. Loot encounter takes your merchant, run-of-the-mill merchant, and also other way to get loot on your way traveling. For example, a sword in a stone or an axe stacked into a tree. Everything that could give your party something. And last, but certainly not least, there's a lore encounter. Lore encounter can take all sorts of form, and it's encounters that give information about your world, that serves to the world building that you're trying to do with your player. So, for comedy encounter, I've decided to give you a small one that I did with my player that did relatively well. So the party is on the road and they see a horse coming towards them, but no rider on the horse. They might decide to try to stop the horse. Maybe they just want a new horse. That's always good for the party, so they might try to calm it down and notice that the horse is apparently a nobleman's horse. Going a bit further on the road, they will meet a knight in shining armor but stuck on the ground, unable to get up because his armor is too heavy. They just met Don Alfonso, a brand new knight, a nobleman that decided to become knight and a knight errant with his page, Pietro. He's not the most adjusted of individual. He's a bit dumb, and so is Pietro. He's actually a big fan of chivalrous stories and wanted to be a noble knight, but apparently lacks the training. You could make this a recurring encounter. Maybe he gets a bit better at being a knight and the party meets him now and again on the road. For the conflict encounter, I've decided not to give you the run-of-the-mill dragon or monster. I've decided instead to give you a bit of a scenario that could be interesting. As the party goes on the road, they stumble upon a crashed cart. On top of this cart is a halfling merchant, Torben. Torben is surrounded by bandits, so the party might try to see what the situation is like. Upon trying to ask around, unless your party decide to murder everyone without asking questions, but upon asking a few questions, they will notice that the situation is a bit confused. Torben, the merchant, claimed that those are run-of-the-mill bandits that try to steal his goods. But the bandits claim not to be bandits at all. They are from the nearby village and Torben just stole stuff from them and they want to get it back. I would say that who is right and who is wrong should be your choice as the DM. There is multiple possibilities. For example, maybe Torben is a thief and did steal from a local thieves guild who sent some of their men, some mercenaries, to reclaim their possession. Or perhaps Torben is a merchant and didn't steal anything, but he bought from a local thieves guild. The problem is the Thieves Guild did steal the merchandise and those people are there to reclaim their own merchandise. You could turn it multiple ways, it's your choice. It's just an interesting thing to have instead of the run-of-the-mill bandits. There's actually a situation that can be diffused multiple ways. For loot encounter, you could have your run-of-the-mill merchant. For example, you could have a traveling doctor selling potions and way to help with curses or other problem that the party could have that require a healer. There's also the magic item merchant, a traveling merchant with magic items, scrolls, and other things that could be useful for the party. And you could have a ready surprise because you're on the road and it's not something that they will encounter often. It's not like they could go back to it. Third possibility for a merchant could be, for example, a book merchant, traveling with a cart full of books and parchment and maybe a few spell books there. For loot encounter, you could also have a small scenario. There's also a map for this one. As a party goes on the road, on the side of the road they notice a magnificent tree with a axe stuck in it. Investigating, they might notice that the axe seems to be very well crafted and might decide to want to pick it up. On a fairly easy strength check, they might be able to dislodge the axe, and they just want a fancy new magical axe. The problem is, the axe was there to seal a treant, an aggressive treant that was cursed to lose his mind and be in a frenzied rage. Upon releasing the treant, by taking out the axe, the treant will try to kill them. They could either try to notice that the treant isn't supposed to be aggressive and try to remove the curse, or they could decide to try to kill him. It will be a choice that has to be made on the moment by the party. And for lore encounter / world building, I have a couple ideas that you could pick up and that seems interesting. The first idea is that the party might meet a farmer on the side of the road. The farmer is a bit bored, and so you decide to have a little conversation with the party. You might ask them where they're from, where they're going. Do they have any interesting stories that could earn him amazement of his friend at the pub tonight? If the party is nice with them, and if you feel like they've given stories interesting enough that the farmer would be amazed by them, you may decide to give them a few tips. Maybe a shortcut to cut their travel time in half, or something like that. Maybe not in half, maybe a bit less, but anything that could give them a small advantage on traveling, since now they have insight from a local. Another possibility would be that if you're in a very militaristic society, the party might encounter a soldier patrol. You will ask them what's their business, where are they from, do they have the legal paper to be there? Anything that interesting, for example, if your setting is that goblins are not regarded very well, and the party has a goblin, maybe they will be a bit aggressive with the goblin, not fighting him, but a bit aggressive and trying to probe a bit more on that character, showing how the society is. If you're near an important sacred temple or sacred place, you might find some pilgrims on the road, and they might ask you if you're too going to the sacred place and on a pilgrimage. They might tell them about their god and trying to maybe convert them to their religion. You might also encounter a caravan of merchants or a caravan for a circus, showing them other people from other countries, giving them possibility to ask questions about foreign nations in your setting. Map-wise, in this episode, we have two maps. They're fairly similar, it's just variation on the same map. The first map is the map of the crashed cart for our merchant surrounded by bandits. As you can see, there is a simple road, and on the side of the road you can see the crashed car. The second one is the map for the tree and battle, for the loot. It's pretty similar, almost the same map. The only difference is that instead of having a tree with a crashed card on it, there's a big hole where the tree used to be before they removed the axe. I hope you enjoyed this little video in which I tried to give you some ideas for travel encounter and travel in general. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment the video. I hope to encounter you later. Have a good one.